So today we're going to do Alita Battle Angel. So let's start by talking about how I watched this movie, because it was a little different and it may be considered relevant how I viewed the movie. Now, this movie came with a bunch of options. Now, where you're living, you might have some limited options to how you can watch a movie. Here in Seattle, like a lot of other cities, you can go watch the movie like normal on just a regular big screen. We've got IMAX, we've got 3D, we have 3D IMAX. We've got this other thing where the seats rumble and the speakers are in the seats and they have all this stuff go on that kind of creates the environment. It was very cool for movies like Black Panther, because when you have like the fight scenes on the waterfall, they're spraying you with mist, just a little bit, you know. There were scents that they were putting out to create the feeling of where you were at. I've heard they also have in those theaters, like they can blow bubbles. I don't know how many movies are going to require bubbles. I think that might be a special effect they didn't really need to make. We also have the lounge theaters where you have a nice big comfy lazy boy and waiters come and very quietly take your order. And then there's how I saw this movie. It's something called Skrein. I think that's what they call it, or Screen X. Look, whatever the hell it is, it's 3 screens, one in front of you and one on each of the sides, to make you feel like you're immersed in the movie. There's actually only one screen, at least where I went, and the other 2 screens were just the walls with stuff just projected directly onto that. I won't lie, it does help create this feeling that you're in there, and I was kind of concerned, like I'm going to be sitting there not knowing where to look. Everything is pretty much on the screen in front of you. The other screens are just kind of stretching the environment out a little so you feel like you're more in there. It's not bad. It didn't distract me. It's definitely not worth doubling the price of admission. I think there are some movies that would benefit a lot from this. Movies that take place on a big chaotic battlefield. Movies where there's just lots of stuff flying around. Cthulhu-ish horror with tentacles springing up all over the place. There's also, right in between the previews and the start of the movie, there's sort of this demo. It's this real quick flying around simulator, and it works really well. I absolutely felt like I was moving. It was almost like a Universal Studios ride, except the seats didn't move. But that's not utilized at all in this movie, so again, I don't really see the point. It would have been very cool in, say, like the opening scene of Revenge of the Sith. That would have been really cool. Independence Day. That would have been really cool. Alita Battle Angel is based on a Japanese cartoon movie that itself is based on a manga. Now, I did see the cartoon movie way back in the day. It was kind of when I first discovered anime. And I don't know how new it was when I saw it. I watched it at home on a VHS tape. It could have been really old by then. It could have been brand new. And honestly, I didn't remember much. I all but came into this movie blind. So I can't tell you how faithful of an adaptation this was. Let's face it, we do not have a great history of turning anime into live action. I reserve judgment for this movie, though. I had some hopes for it. 3 words. James fucking Cameron. You gotta hand it to the guy. He does not make bad stuff. He wrote this. Rodriguez directed it. Some good talent attached to this. So let's talk about the plot to Alita Battle Angel. It takes place in the future. There was a war. We have a dystopian world now. And there are basically 2 cities left. One is on the ground, and it's a shit show. And the other's up there. It's suspended in the air. There's cables that attach it to the world down below. I don't remember what they called the world up there, but I'm going to call it the penthouse. And everyone down here wants to go to the penthouse. And it's always a matter of money. They have to get enough money so they can go to the penthouse and look down at all the peasants down there. And they do terrible things to try to acquire this money. And in the process, they get hurt, and pieces of them have to be replaced with cybernetic parts. And they start looking less and less human. Well, it's not a subtle metaphor. Losing your humanity to try to go to the penthouse because you think that's where your happiness is. Eventually, someone, I won't say who, does even say the line, "What I need is an up there." But at least you think the metaphor stops there. There's also some biblical metaphor to this. You see, the penthouse is run by a guy named Nova, who is all-seeing. He can see through everybody's eyes, so he knows everything that's happening. And supposedly, you need a permission note from Nova to go from Earth to the penthouse. And if you try to sneak your way, like up the cables that connect the 2, Nova will smite you down. Again, not subtle. And you might think, do we need another movie about selling your soul and your humanity to get some money because you think the money will take you to the penthouse penthouse where you will be happy and there's nothing for you up there. They even bring up that, yeah, if you go to the penthouse, you're going to just be a peasant because, yeah, the money that gets you from Earth to the penthouse is a lot on Earth. When you get to the penthouse, suddenly you're not rich anymore. You're the poorest rich person up there. And some people say, do we really need to keep making the same point over and over again? I mean, this has been done. When billionaires who have more money than they could spend in a million lifetimes stop destroying themselves, their species, their country, and their planet to make just a little bit more, we'll stop making movies about why they shouldn't do that. Actually, our main character is a cyborg who has amnesia, and she's trying to figure out who she is, and she ends up with a father figure who's controlling her and not letting her be herself and take the risks she wants to make. You know who the target demographic is here. And then, of course, she literally just runs smack into every character she needs to meet to make this story happen. You know, that's fine. How long do you want the movie to be? She meets a young man. She immediately falls in love with him. He immediately falls in love with her. We got 2 hours. We got to move this along. Her goals are basically figuring out who she is. At one point, she's trying to stop a bad guy who's threatening her and her foster father. The goals are pretty much everyone around her who wants to get to the penthouse. And if they gave her more of a focused goal, I think that would have helped. As it is, she, our protagonist, is all over the place. At one minute, she's trying to figure out who she is. The next minute, she's investigating her foster father. Then she's becoming a bounty hunter. Then she's a professional athlete. And there's a lot of points in this movie where you don't really know where within the storyline you are. With a 3-act structure, your protagonist, they come up with a goal, they commit themselves to it. Okay, we're going to Act 2. You got the final do or die moment. We're in Act 3. That's a gross simplification. You know where you are in the movie based on the protagonist and where they are in relation to their goals. And you don't have that here. A lot of these characters who want to go to the penthouse are just into it for vanity reasons. They want to go because it's the penthouse and they want to be part of that culture. But it would have been nice to see a little more variety of why people want to go to the penthouse. Another opportunity for improvement here is probably the opening. In the first scene, we see the foster father figure find Alita's remains in a scrapyard, and he rebuilds her. And then she wakes up in her new bedroom. She doesn't have her memory, and she's checking out these cybernetic parts she has, and she's all confused, and she doesn't know this world. Why didn't we start there? That's where we should have started. We would have been right there with her, confused. We don't know what's going on. We don't know anything about this world yet. Special effects, they're good. The big eye thing is not an issue. Alita, if you don't know, in this movie has like big, almost anime eyes. A lot of people looked at that, the preview, like, I don't know about that. It's fine. It looks fine. You get used to it almost immediately. Also, you know, eyes are supposed to be the window to the soul. It's a movie about your soul. She's the battle angel. The sound effects are weird. They're too loud. When we're talking like an explosion or, you know, vehicles crashing together, something like that, sure, that should be loud. But everything's loud. If a character knocks a soda can off the table, it sounds like an Amtrak just crashed. It comes across exactly as what it is, an added sound effect, artificially put in there. Let's talk about the ending. A lot of people are going to this movie expecting an action movie, and it is, by all means. I mean, there's tons of great action in it, but it doesn't have the ending that most action movies would have. It has a very philosophical ending. So some people are, and I feel like you could sense it in the theater as the movie was wrapping up, a lot of people thinking, wait, this is it? This is the ending? What? It's not what they were hoping for. They were left a little unfulfilled. Now, I don't think they should have changed the ending, but maybe they could have marketed it in a way that would say, hey, look, this is not your typical action movie in terms of how you expect the third act to go. I am going to talk about the ending, but I'm going to do that towards the end of this review. I'm not going to give out too many details, but it's worth discussing. If you don't want to hear about that, cool, go see the movie, come back, fast forward to the end of this review, and we can exchange notes there. Well, I do like the metaphors, and I do agree with the metaphors. The lack of subtlety in them is kind of a problem. I mean, they really just shove it in your face, like, you're getting this, right? You get what we're saying here, right? Do you get it? Do you get it? And it's kind of annoying. Or I'll give you the worst example because it's also the funniest. There's a scene where Alita's boyfriend needs just $90,000 more to go to the penthouse. So Alita opens up her cybernetic chest and pulls out her heart and says, "It's a very valuable heart. Take my heart and sell it. It's yours. You can have my heart." I was cringing in my seat. I think everybody was rolling their eyes. They were very concerned about people not getting it, except at the end, which I will get to at the end of this video. First, I want to bitch real fast about this weather, because this weather is bullshit. Here in Seattle, if you're aware of it, we're getting like record snowfall. We weren't properly prepared for this, so it is just stacking all over the place. During the day, it gets just warm enough to melt the snow just a little bit. So the water just flows downhill and covers everything. And then it gets cold again, and then it freezes. So everything is covered in ice right now. And everyone is walking around like a constipated penguin. I haven't fallen down yet. I'm just sliding home everywhere I go. I get out of the movie theater for Alita Battle Angel, and I just Gumby slide all the way home and wonder what my life will be like as a paraplegic, because obviously that's where this is going.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
You brag that you have sexually assaulted women.
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. And I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding. I want surveillance of certain mosques. If I become president, we're all going to be saying Merry Christmas again. That I can tell. Yeah, look, Mussolini was Mussolini. So I said, small hands. These guys know. I hit a ball 280 yards. Stand up. My club champion. Stand up. Do I hit the ball good? Do I hit it long? Is Trump strong? Huh? He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee. I'll totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
A lot of people who go to see this movie, they're going to expect it to have an ending where Alita storms the penthouse, kills Nova, and creates equality for all. Not what's going to happen here. Instead, even though we see she has all the ability in the world to get to the penthouse, she ends up not going. She doesn't fight Nova, does not try to fight her way into the penthouse. She makes the decision, stay down here and not run for the goal that everyone else wants, to go to the penthouse. She makes her own name down here, and it ends with her defiantly holding a sword up towards the penthouse, which I think a lot of people are going to interpret as her saying, "I'm coming for you. There's going to be a sequel." I don't think that's what they were saying there. I think she was saying, I don't need the penthouse. I don't need Nova's judgment. I'm good here. I can make my own happiness. I'm not going to fight for what the government or my religion tells me I need. I'm not going to sacrifice my humanity to get the things I don't even want. I think that's the point the movie's trying to make. And I like that. I like this ending. I hope so much that we don't get a sequel. All right, people, thank you so much, as always, for joining me for this. Please subscribe, comment, ring that bell, give me a thumbs up. It all helps a lot. Please visit my website, darkwana.com. You can find me on Facebook, Darkwana Game. Follow me on Twitter, @Darkwana. I'm going to put all that in the comment section. Oh, and you know, the whole reason I started a YouTube channel was to talk about the games I'm making. Finally going to do that. Got a video coming probably by the end of this week. It's going to outline the entirety of the next game I'm putting out, which I'm very excited about. I like it way more than my first one. This game is called King of Coasters. I hope you'll join me for that video. If you subscribe, you'll know when I put it out. And guys, I'll see you soon. We have plenty of other stuff to talk about. I've got a video about The Runaways and the second season of Punisher coming out as well. I'll see you guys soon, and we'll do this some more.